Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with Kev and Sam driving in his car. That's just not really that much to talk about, to be honest. I mean,
Nah, you got any ideas, mate?
fairly uneventful, to be fair, today.
The young lads won the Hong Kong Sevens, didn't they?
Oh, that was it. Yeah. Young lads won the Hong Kong Seven. Brilliant achievement. I mean, what did we beat Brighton? I'm not sure. Did we?
Has anyone seen? I don't know. Maybe in the comments, if people could mention it, like if anyone knows if anything happened today, that'd be good because I'm struggling for content tonight, mate. If I'm honest.
Yeah. I mean, I've got this picture. I'm not sure if that's anything to go by.
Let's go for Unai Emery. He's got exactly what we need.
Two
at the back, Daly in the tap. Phillips going to the Conference League. We've got, come on, the Villa.
What a day, lads! What a day! Phenomenal performance. Amazing stuff. In the comments, Alfie, up the Villa lads, Moley boys in the house. We made it. Duncan, evening all. Adamski, we did. Michael, hiyo, Aston Villa, yes. Get in there. Rachel, yes. Fantastic stuff. CC, time to make sure the passports are up to date. Gary said, hi guys, easy peasy, and especially in the second half. We'll get into it. You boys were there. I mean, I don't know if it was easy in the stadium. It certainly wasn't watching it. Paul Bassinder, yay, up the Villa Europe, here we come. Duncan again, up the mighty Villa. Paul Merson, Villa legends in the house, get in. Molly boy's been pissed all day. Yeah, mate, you deserve it. You deserve it. Deco Blanco's in the house. Yes, lads, Villa European tour. Mark with the thumbnails. Phenomenal job. Evening all. Yes. Willie's in the house. Great way to end the season. Sam, driving back from the ground to you first, mate. How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
My voice is shot. I'm knackered. That's the only way to say it. It's been such a season, man. It's like, it's just one of them. It was just all culminated to this game, to this point. And I know one of the comments said it was pretty comfortable, and I can't disagree with them, man. It was exactly the game you'd want. I know the last few minutes were a bit cagey, a bit nervous, but we had Brighton on strings, and I don't know what else. It's one of them. We talk joking at the start. There's nothing to talk about, but I'm almost lost for words for just how fantastic this season's been, how good the boys have been, the atmosphere in the ground today. Oh my God, I've never heard it like that. I kept getting notifications on my Apple Watch, and it says if you carry on like this, you're going to go deaf, temporary hearing loss. Oh man, just what a day. Up the Villa boys. Back in Europe, what a day, what a season.
Kev, just that last sentence there from Sam, Villa back in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know I tried to sort of be, you can hear my throat's not the best as well. I know I tried to sort of be a little bit cagey about the fact that if we didn't get Europe, I still didn't think it would maybe affect us getting our targets, and it's still been a great season, but it really is the icing on top of the cake. And to think as well, like the way we've had to do it lately. I mean, let's not forget, right, that last run of games, when we had that spell when we won all those away games in a row, following obviously there was the triple defeat, wasn't there, with the Leicester. Wow, Liverpool got up to Leicester today. With Leicester, obviously Man City and Arsenal. And again, that's two of the top two in the league, basically. We then went on that run, and then everyone was looking at it going, well, hang on a minute, you got to play all the teams around you. And people were saying, the wheel's going to come off. You've got Liverpool, you've got Man United, you've got Brighton, Brentford, you've got Fulham, you've got Newcastle. You've got all these teams in and around you. And look what we did. We beat Newcastle. We beat Spurs. We beat Brighton. We got a good away draw at Brentford. We beat Chelsea. We beat Fulham. Man United just about beat us. It was a nervy 1-0 win. We got a draw at Anfield. This is a proper team now, a proper team. And to top it off with, this was no gimme today. I think someone put in the comments, which I think is a really, really valid point, like thanks to Brighton for making a game of it. Because I thought with the couple of changes they made, I thought, hang on a minute, like this might be a bit easier than I think it's going to be. Then the next thing you know, they're bringing on Caicedo. They're bringing on Matoma, and they had their chances. So it's just absolutely magic, mate. What do you think, Richard? What do you?
I'm a bit like Sam. I've popped him on mute just for the second, so I'll come back to you, Sam. Sorry, mate, just because of the background noise. But I'm a bit like Sam. I'm a little bit lost for words when I've come on the pod, because I was, like you say, we've been on this amazing run. We've had one or two setbacks. We've had tough games. We've had having to go to Anfield and get something. We've had Newcastle kind of on an unstoppable run, and we've always had that that obviously me living in Newcastle, I've got that edge as well. But we've had that edge with Newcastle to be like competing with them and beat them 3-0. We've really, really, really had to earn this position. And to think that we've come from 17th to when Unai took over to 7th in the table, 15 wins in 25 games. It's just unbelievable. I just can't, the momentum that's been built, the way the players have taken to actual coaching, the maturity of the performances. Watkins finishing, Ramsey coming strong at the end of the season. Buendia having times when he's done it, Bailey having times when he's produced. Every player has contributed, and it's just fantastic. I just can't. It's just difficult to put into words like how amazing it is. In an ordinary season, that type of form would have got us, I don't know, like Champions League or something like that.
Fact.
And you think from where we came from to where we are now, like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and it's just fantastic. It's just difficult to put into words. In terms of today's game, I thought it could have been anything. It could have been 5 or 6-1 to us. It could have been 3-3. But we approached it really well, and even like Sam said, even though those last 15 were quite intense, I think Brighton maybe stepped off it a little bit, and we were a bit more settled. But just fantastic, mate. Absolutely fantastic.
Rich, can you see why I predicted 4-3 in the preview?
Yeah, I could, mate. I absolutely could. I'll just go through some comments because we've got nearly 50 watching, which is brilliant. So please, guys, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. We actually a double celebration. We actually hit 1,500 subscribers today. So we do want to say a bit at the end about the support that we've had on the channel this season. But yeah, 1,500 subscribers we're on. So we want to continue to grow. So please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you do want to become a member, I know 14 of you now are members of the channel. If you do want to become a member, then click the link at the top of the chat, or click the $sign, or click the join button, and it's less than a third of the cost of a pint. $1.99 a month. Help us grow the channel. Help support us. But anything is amazing. Any support is amazing. You guys really have made the show. So let's go here. Where are we? Yeah, you said that from CC. Kev, I absolutely love that Brighton were definitely not at the beach. I genuinely like to actually thank Brighton for making us earn it. Paul Merson, the legend, said, all about time the Premier League put some respect on Unai's name.
100%.
I'll come back to that in a bit, but that is 100%. Villa Park was on fire today. It was fantastic celebrating with Brighton at the end, says Michael. Adamski says, wonderful day. I'm watching it again right now. Duncan, I'll come back to your point as well in a bit. Rachel said, Brighton are class on and off the pitch. Gary said, Deserby said we deserved Europe. Love it. Yeah, Sky cut out the celebrations after. Yeah, I do want to watch it again. I've recorded match of the day. I do want to, and I can't wait for the Villa channel's pitch side, because that'll be amazing. We played with lots of style and lots of Emery. Loved that our owners and families were on the pitch at the end too. Brilliant. Dream Villain said, good evening. Unai Villa Emery. What a time to be a Villa supporter up the Villa. 100%, mate. Alfie's reached 49 points in 26 games.
Wow.
Michael said, fantastic weekend with Villa winning away at Arsenal yesterday, and a fantastic win today. Absolutely.
And the Hong Kong Sevens with
And the Hong Kong 7, yeah, won today.
Today.
Yeah. Savas in the house. Hi, nice to have you on board, mate. Hi, guys. So proud. I'm buzzing. We won our last 7 home games on the spin, only conceding twice, beating some big teams in the process. Absolutely, mate. And that's the first time we've done that since the 92-93 season. Won 7 home games in a row.
Wow.
Rich, how is your son? Oh, he's fine, mate. To be fair, he likes being at the games more than he does watching it on TV. Like, he was fidgeting all over and getting bored and stuff, but he was bouncing around the house, mate. He was loving it, to be fair. But yeah, he prefers being at the game, to be honest. It was really feisty for the first half too. Wasn't sure where that came from, but we met them physically, pace for pace. Yeah. Okay. Let's. I will come back to comments, but let's get into the game, mate. We talked about. And I'll bring Sam in as well. We talked about getting off to a fast start and how Villa have been good. And I mentioned, Leon Bailey would start because he's better at those fast starts, and we like to get on the ball and get at them with a bit of pace. And although it wasn't on the first goal particularly, wasn't him on his side, but that speed, that kind of energy, that running with the ball, that pressing from the goalkeeper really did pay off, Kevin, and that's ultimately how we put them under real pressure.
It's become a hallmark of what we do now at Villa Park, isn't it? Again and again. And we said on the preview pod about the inclusion of Bailey would probably be because he has actually contributed. He's contributed quite a bit in terms of, obviously there was the goal against Leeds, there was a goal against Man United. He's whether it's been assists, goals, he got the assist for Dougie Luiz obviously the other day in the what was that, the Newcastle game? I can't remember what game it was. Not Newcastle. One of the wins we had. There's so many wins at home. I can't work out.
Which 7 in a row, mate.
which one's which? But yeah, I just think it's a hallmark of Unai Emery's Aston Villa now at home, and Villa Park is now going to be a place that teams are going to know we're going to be at you. A team like Brighton, who've been absolutely fantastic this season, some of the performances they put in, and it was Villa for the first 20 minutes, and look, we got what we did, which is often more than one goal. And there could have been more as well. Obviously, with Leon himself hit the bar. I thought he actually, again, I think he had his moments today where, he didn't do a fat lot, but what a pass for the second goal and nearly scored. So he is making some impacts now, which are quite significant in games. I just think there's clearly an upgrade available out there for us to get. But we're at the end of the season and he has made contributions. So you know what?
Andy put the cross in that Ramsey should have scored.
Yeah, he did. So I'm going to say it now, but cheers, Leon. You contributed this season, mate. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Sam, bringing you in, mate, just on that first goal, obviously a great run down that left-hand side by Ramsey, and brilliant sort of vision to see Luiz on the edge of the box, and Luiz again with a goal. And look, he's had a pretty decent goal scoring season this year.
Yeah, I think there are a number of players over the season. I think since Emery's come in, who have improved like quite a lot. I think Luiz is up there with the biggest improvers. He was brilliant. I mean, Jacob Ramsey was incredible today. Just exactly what you want him to do, driving with the ball, pushing the game forward, pushing Villa forward. That he's getting really good at. It's almost like a FIFA move cheat code where he kind of gets close to the byline and pulls it back, and he just did it time and time again during this game, and he was absolutely class today, and you can see why people have really started to keep their eye on Jacob Ramsey, and there was talk about him for the England squad, and it was just a brilliant goal. I think before that you've touched on it already. Leon Bailey, he did so well to kind of get himself a yard to get the shot off, and I think he's just got a bit excited. It's one of those where
he took a deflection off Pascal Gross.
I did it because I haven't seen it back. I'm only talking about what I saw live. I thought, I mean, still from that distance, it's good defending then in that case. But you'd like to see him try and finish that and be a bit more composed, make sure it gets in. But whilst we're talking about like the build-up play in the first 20 minutes, I've got to give a shout out to Kamara. Oh, gee, honestly, boys, this guy is silk. he's just absolutely beautiful to watch. He just does everything from the back. He drops in, he helps those triangles at the back between Mings and Konsa and the full-backs. He's just everywhere, and he just did so much to settle that game down and get us going in the first 20 minutes. He was unreal, and I think Kamara needs a massive shout out today.
Yeah, very, very calm on the ball, and a good full pre-season, fingers crossed, will help. Will help him with his fitness, because the last couple of games, he has dropped off in that second half, but like first 50, 60 minutes, he was just brilliant. I
think even like not getting injured over long periods of time, I think he needs to
Agreed.
be like to be a mainstay in this team. He needs to be available for at least 30 games of the season. You know, and he's been plagued by injuries. I actually saw in right next to where I was sat, fortunate enough to be in the box today, and Alex Moreno was sat next to me. Our box is next to Emi Buendia and Emi Martinez's box, and Alex Moreno was in there with his family, and you could see him itching. You could see that he just wanted to be out there, and I think it's just testament to the culture of the players at the moment and the vibe around Villa Park, and it was just fantastic.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. Kev, we're talking about that second goal as well. You mentioned Bailey, like contributing. I think it was McGinn who won the ball. There was a debatable challenge. I don't think it was a foul, but a debatable one. But Bailey then picks it up. Beautiful ball through to Ramsey, who shows wonderful composure. We've still been pressured behind him to just lay it across to Watkins, and yeah, he's not going to score an easier goal than that, is he?
Mate, he's not. I absolutely love that second goal. It might be one of my favourite goals of the season, and there's been a few for that because of everything it embodied. You know, it gave us that cushion we needed in an absolutely crucial game, but it came from McGinn being his absolute best at doing what he does. He just harangued and harassed whoever it was. He kind of closed down like, my God, it was like a freight train coming at him. Freight train with obviously a very large rear end. And won the ball back. I don't think it was a foul. I've seen it back. It comes loose, obviously. Bailey plays a fantastic pass. The weight of the pass that Bailey played was brilliant. Ramsey, incredible pace to get there ahead of the defender. It looked like it was maybe 50-50. And it made the ball even better than it already was. And then he's racing towards goal. You're thinking he's going to shoot, but you're thinking, my God, the keeper's right on top of him. And he has the presence to square it. And then on top of all of that, this is the cherry, is that Watkins now has got his best ever Premier League haul, 15 goals in a season, which is significant, isn't it? Because 20 is always like get 20 goals as a striker, you're something special. Get 10, you're being productive, 10 goals, all that kind of stuff, double figures. But 15, obviously, for those that aren't very good at maths, it's in between the two. But it just feels significant for him, particularly when he only scored, I think, 2 goals before the World Cup. So to get 13 goals in the second half of the season is a fantastic haul.
Kev, because you've seen it back. At the time when I was watching it live, the ball from Bailey looked like he gave Ramsey a lot to do. I thought he'd overhit, and obviously I haven't seen it back. Do you reckon it was like an inch perfect, or did Ramsey do really well to make something of it?
I think it was a fantastic ball. I think it was pretty much inch perfect. I just think that
I'm glad you said that, because on the telly it was perfectly in his path.
Yeah, from the angle I was at, kind of quite centrally in the Trinity, I thought, do you know what? It's a brilliant pass, but I do think even a brilliant pass sometimes, if the defender's quicker than the attacking player, they can still get there. But the pass got there, but then Ramsey's pace made it even better. And it just
had the perfect touch to get him in front of the defender, and then so the defender was either going to have to foul him, but the timing was just perfect to lay it across to Watkins. So lovely goal, lovely goal, and great. Like, I think you've covered it there perfectly. For Watkins to finish on 15 Premier League goals, he's obviously got 1 in the cup, so he's got 16 goals for the season. 11 goals in the 12-game run, which was phenomenal. Lovely for him to get that goal at the end of the season, just to take him into next season. And obviously there are going to be upgrades. We need more players in. So he's going to have to learn to compete with someone. But great for him to finish up the season with a goal.
I've got a problem now with Watkins, because I'm sad to say that I lost a subscriber on the last pod I was on, because I was questioning Watkins, and one of the comments said I switched off as soon as I heard the clown say that Watkins wasn't good enough. I assume the clown was me. It's
But we've all said
it's
it. We've all said we might need to upgrade. We've all said it.
It's a tough one, because Ollie Watkins today was, it was such a vintage Ollie Watkins performance. I mean, he was, like you say, he's never going to get an easier goal, but he's in the right place, right time. He did a lot of chasing down and not much else. I don't remember Ollie Watkins having a massive contribution to the game apart from the goal. So it's one of them now.
He had a couple of times, couple of hold up in the first half in particular, a couple of times where he held the ball up and brought players in really well. But yeah, second half was a tough one for him. He had a had a decent header.
Yeah, I mean, I was so far out. There wasn't a lot he could do with that. I'm not blaming him for that header, but I think it's one of those where you read his numbers back and you say he's got 13 since the World Cup finished, and on paper it sounds really impressive. But I know what I've seen all season, and I know where I feel like the upgrade is necessary. It's so interesting to see what Emery's going to do, because I know they're looking at giving him a new contract as well. So
yeah, he does like him. Boys, I've got to shout out Savas here. Give you the £10 super chat. I mean, absolutely phenomenal, mate. Thank you so much. Like, it says, been homeless for a year, just getting back on his feet. No furniture and sleeping on the floor, saving every penny, but love you guys, mate. That is just phenomenal. Like, thank you so much. Like, if we can do anything to help you out with your situation, mate, we 100% will do.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your support. And I'm glad that these shows mean a lot to you. But that's phenomenal, mate. Thank you so much. There's been so many comments coming in that I'm trying to go back to where I left it, just so I don't miss any out. I've starred some, so I will come back to them. CC said it was a really feisty for the first half too, wasn't it? Oh, I've read that one. Duncan said the best home run since Big Run, and only Manchester has taken more points in the Emery spell. Cash had a tough day, bless him. But he did have two of the most informed left wingers on in the game. But we'll come on to individual performances in a bit. But we'll talk about Cash. We want to talk about McGinn. I know we've mentioned Ramsey. I want to talk on a few of them. I was happy to hear Sweet Caroline after was missing it. We need a winning song if that's not going to be it. Adamska's hit that like button. Yeah, everyone, please do. Paul Merson, we've only finished 10 points off the Champions League places. Imagine if Unai had been in the whole season. I'm pretty sure we'd have closed that gap significantly. Michael shouting out the Brighton fans there. Mark with the song, K Sarah Sarah, whatever will be. We're going to Hammerby, K Sarah Sarah. We'll get the groups up. We'll get the potential teams up that we might play. On the beer with the legend, up the Villa. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Up the Villa. We'll talk Luca Dean as well in a bit. Gary says, really did think our race was run after the United and Wolves games, but an absolutely fantastic response. UTV means Unai the villain. Yeah. Gary's asking Sam if you're in the tunnel. I don't know where you are on the road at the moment. Gary said Ramsey's best game for him today. Bailey was good too. Great footwork, made things happen. All our players gave 100%. Love the tweet from the club. They've put out from before the season started, asking Luca Dean to write down his prediction for us, writing on his photo saying finish in the top 7. That's brilliant. Agree today was an accumulation of a season for Ramsey. He was on fire. Mark said the challenge from Kamara to prevent a Brighton goal was sensational. Sean KMG says, boys, I can't believe this. For so many years, bad luck and losing was life. It's nerve-wracking having this responsibility and expectation, but I'm here for it. 2 wingers and a top striker are essential, says Gary. George says, bang on Sam Kamara is the man. and Adamski agreeing, but saying also the other players have improved, so you don't know how good he is. Rachel saying, I really hope Moreno will be okay long term. Gaza saying McGinn was an absolute steam train today. We'll talk McGinn as well. Absolutely. Doing us all proud in Scotland, says Gaza. Yeah, Rachel said, I think Kamara will only playing defensive for injury hit. I believe he will suit CDM role long term. Yeah, absolutely. What else have we got? CC says Watkins is a very good player, but he isn't a natural striker, say like a Tony. So he needs to have someone beside him or the ball fed to him. He isn't a game changer. Yeah, sometimes the service, but then he misses chances, so it's a difficult one. Credo's in the house. Good evening. Great to see you, mate. It's no disrespect to say we need an upgrade at centre forward. Ollie's been fantastic for us, and a new contract is totally warranted. But playing European football will need a bigger and better squad. Watkins' goal was the important goal. Yeah, from Steve. What a day, says Credo. Up the Villa. Good luck this new chapter of your life. Yeah, absolutely, Savas. But yeah, so glad that you're getting on your feet, mate. And Gary said Ramsey is getting noticed. So got through all the comments. We'll have more. Kev, just obviously that 2-0 was watching it in the house. 2-0 was a great lead. Obviously, 30 minutes or 28 minutes, I think we got that lead. But Brighton was still dangerous, and we were playing that high line, and we'd had a couple of near misses, and yeah, they obviously made us pay with a nice smart finish, and we just couldn't quite keep them at bay in terms of the offside line.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to give credit to Brighton. You can see why they've been successful, because they're actually they're great in midfield. Whoever's playing, it's absolutely classic, really. I think in terms of good footballing brain to take that first touch away from the player that's coming towards it. And they do it almost all the time, don't they? So if ball comes towards them, first touch, they're on the go, quick pass. Next thing you know, they were cutting through us like a knife to butter. I thought our offside line wasn't as good as it has been. It was still pretty good, but they got through a couple of times. I did see Martinez have to do what Martinez does, which is make a couple of great saves. And I didn't realise until after we scored, and I checked the scores on my phone, that Spurs had scored so early on. So then I'm thinking, crikey, well, unless there's a Leeds goal, and this was the constant theme throughout the game until obviously, Harrison got that goal. I mean, classic Leeds. 2 minutes later, there was a goal update. But so once he got 2-0, it was pretty comfy for a bit. And then Brighton started to get chances. There was the Undav goal, which obviously was a great goal. Enciso did some great work on the left. Got there ahead of the defender and the keeper and finished it. Yeah. The actual goal was a great finish. The way he kind of almost balanced it on his head and turned on it and then finished it was actually, if those haven't seen it back, it's a real great bit of play. Fantastic play.
Brilliant goal. Yeah,
really good. And it then did get a bit nervy, didn't it? It got a bit nervy because I was saying to my lad next to me, well, I had my lad and my daughter there today, but she was more interested in her iPad. Well, to be fair, 50-50, right? She's getting there. But I was saying to him, one Brighton goal, we're all winning, Dad, but one Brighton goal changes everything. And that was kind of the theme. But then it didn't feel like we were under that much pressure. And, I felt we handled it second half pretty well.
Yeah. It was one of them where when they did go forward, they tried to penetrate, but then, like you said, and I think Sam mentioned before that, I know we'll bring Sam in a second. We did kind of keep them at bay for the vast majority of it. Got to shout out these super chats here. Michael with another $9.99. Phenomenal, mate. Thank you. In light of that last super chat, here's my donation to you. You guys have been fantastic. And if you do a fundraiser, let me know and I'll supply something to help.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, mate. We'll try and sort something out, certainly. Or if it's a private thing for Savas, we'll try and sort something out. I'm not sure what CHF is, but we've got 48 of them from Rub P. Up the Villa and Up the Villa Park podcast. Great show. Keep it up, guys. Absolute legend, mate. Thank you so much for your support. Amazing stuff. Yeah, Sam, you did sort of mention. Oh, where is he? If you can unmute yourself, mate, that'd be great. If you can still get in.
Yeah, I'm here.
You mentioned that. You mentioned that we Brighton. We had strings. We certainly did when we went forward, but it wasn't without its hairy moments, and they do look quite slick, don't they? Going forwards, they've got some really really good technical players.
Yeah, I mean, look, Brighton have finished sixth in the league for a reason. They've been absolutely fantastic, and they were fantastic to watch today as well. Like look, you're never going to keep a team like Brighton completely at bay, but I feel like we dominated the game, and I was expecting it 2-1 in the in the last 10-15 minutes. I was expecting us to sit really deep and just kind of invite the pressure and try and see the game out, but it just wasn't like that. We had, I would say, like significantly more chances than them. I thought we were still going forward. We had the Jacob Ramsey chance at the end when Leon Bailey put the ball in. He just couldn't get a foot to it. Emi Martinez made a fantastic save because sort of came off his line and made his body big. It kind of reminded me of that save he made against France in the World Cup final.
Kolo
He just
Muani
came out, made his
racing through.
Yeah, just made his body absolutely massive.
Yeah.
And he was, and it was one of them. Like, look, Brighton obviously had their chances. They were always going to have them. I put a bet on before the game, and I put like +7 offsides in the game because I knew that we were going to play that high line, and I think for the most part it worked really well. And so I think, yeah, I mean, credit to Brighton, but a fantastic club. I feel bad for them because I know they're going to get raided in the summer. I know De Zerbi's already come out and said that Caicedo and Alexis Sanchez, Alexis McAllister, sorry, is off, going to be off this summer. So I hope they can maintain it. But I think for the most part,
he was crying at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean they would be. We took 6 points off them this season. So I hope they don't change. I hope they don't change too much. But yeah, I think for the most part we were better than them in the game, and I think we were better than them in the last game as well. So I think if we can just get that consistency, and like one of the comments said, I can only imagine where we'd be if we'd had Emery from the start of the season. And I'm sure we'll get to it on a different podcast or later on in this podcast. But I'm so excited to see where Villa go from here. I just don't feel like this is a ceiling for us.
Yeah, I agree, mate. We're gonna do a season review where we'll review our player of the season, and we did a members vote as well on those guys thought the player of the season was. So we'll do that this week, and then we'll do a full kind of what do Villa need to do next. I'm sure over the coming weeks as well. So we'll certainly look at that. Quick finish off on the actual part on the actual game, Kev, with regards to the action. And then we'll go into like individual players, and we'll talk about the manager as well. But yeah, like the second half, Sam said we kind of kept them at bay, but when you don't get that third goal, and despite the chances that we had, I'm thinking Ramsey, 2 good chances. I'm thinking Watkins, like not quite getting on the end or something. And then obviously with Tottenham winning so comfortably, and then Brentford getting the goal against Man City, there was always that little thought in the back of your head, wasn't there?
There was, mate. There was. I think this is, just to kind of touch back to Sam's losing a subscriber point earlier. Look, I think those that know us, maybe people that kind of watch the pod sporadically, those that know us know that we do have quite a lot of different opinions, and I think as we've talked about quite a lot, it's great for us to, I think, to be able to agree and disagree on various things. But one of the things I think a lot of Villa fan base can do now is with the kind of quiet, confidence, but also reality, look at a situation and give someone praise, but also criticism where we want to be as a club. We've got Europe, we want to be pushing for that top 4. Unai himself came out and said it. I put a tweet out, the point around this is the start basically of something. And the point you just touched on there, Rich, in any other situation, a quality top team scores 4 or 5 once Brighton turn off to take their foot off the pedal. And that's where the lack of quality sometimes we've got in the final third hits us, which is the reason why we're looking for maybe 1 or 2 forward players, maybe more. We need a winger, we need a sports striker, we probably need another attacking midfield type player, an upgrade on a Coutinho Buendia type player, because there should be a lot more games this season where we scored 3 or 4 goals, really, with how well we played in the games. And yeah, we've still got ourselves in the end 7 goals from Luiz, and Luiz is not a classic attacking midfielder, so it's actually quite a good return. You know, Ramsey got 6, Buendia and Bailey got 5 each. And then obviously Ings was second top scorer, joint with Louise on 7 and Watkins on 15. If we want to kick on, we've got to score more goals. You know, if you get a few injuries, you get a bit more fatigue because of your Conference League qualification. You concede a few goals, you've got to be able to win those games where maybe your backs are against the wall. And it feels bad sort of criticising a little bit because I don't really think today's is the pod for that. I think we'll come on to that down the line. You know, today's a pod to talk about the game and celebrate. But we really should have put the game to bed. I mean, Ramsey was brilliant, by the way, and that would have been two.
That would have been the ice on the cake for him. Yeah. But I do agree. And it was interesting to see that, as far as I know, only one sub was made by Emery.
Was one
today.
Sub, mate. Wendy. They made all 5.
Yeah, and I know it's, you know, the game's different situations, and he could have brought on another defender or whatever. But like, it's interesting. Like, he didn't bring Traore on. Duran must have been injured, but you know, he didn't bring a Dendoncker on or whatever to kind of give Kamara or Louise a rest. You know, and especially if players are on yellow cards as well. So that speaks volumes in terms of. And I know he's used them at different points of the season, but it speaks volumes that, you know, he's not bringing people on to kind of impact a game as such, you know, whether that be attacking or defending, and that's interesting. So I'm sure that we'll have to make upgrades, but I'm sure that there will be considerable upgrades made on this season. CC said, I was really happy we didn't revert back into a turtle as we sometimes do under pressure, protecting the lead. In my opinion, it's best to be offensive. I totally agree. Lee said, I'm on the rocks fishing, got a signal, come on me babbies. Brilliant, mate. Thank you for tuning in. Savas, I'll come to your question later. Duncan said top 4 next season for sure. I saw McAllister being very emotional at the end, so he's definitely off. I hope he goes to Liverpool. Adamski said Brighton might turn into Southampton without McAllister and Caicedo. I think they'll be better. Than that, but it depends who else they lose. Adamski says be like us losing McGinn and Louise. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it would be big.
I think Brighton have shown
they've also got a lot of money.
Brighton have shown they're very good at replacing players as well. Look at the players that they've lost.
Yeah.
They've sold Trossard, Cucurella. They've sold Basuma in the middle. All of these were key players for Brighton. Brighton's recruitment policy is the absolute envy of the Premier League. They always manage to replace players and bring them in. I'm not worried about Brighton at all.
Brighton will have a 14-year-old Ecuadorian ready to step into the first team, basically. And
he'll be world class as well.
World class out of nowhere. Like, who are these players that have come in?
There is someone who they're talking about, and I can't think who, but there's someone they're talking about. Brighton fans who's replacing Caicedo, who's already out on loan somewhere and doing absolute bits. So, I can't think of his name. Gary says it's June next week. So when is our qualifying round for the conference group stage? I'm guessing the end of July. I think it's the end of August.
Come on, Europe.
Yeah, I'll bring that up in a bit. We have to be critical if we're going to keep improving. Says Lee. Nigel says lowest scorers in the top half. We need more goals. I agree with Kev again, sadly. There you go. On, you and Nigel. Even on this day, like, you're friends now. We
are friends. Of course we are.
Duncan said, I've been a big supporter of Buendia, but starting to doubt now. Arrogant on the free kick. Well, you wanted the headlines. He wanted the headlines, didn't he? Rachel said, we do need more goals and throughout the team with players and tactics that should improve, hopefully. Stephen Van Leer is joining us. No team has beaten Brighton by 3 or 4, but I'm hopeful this is going to be our way up now.
Everton did.
Well, Everton did and Newcastle did, but yeah, I take your point.
I get your point.
Brighton are the octopus of the Premier League. Yeah. Leicester have scored the same goals as us, says Gary. We only have one less win than Newcastle, says Alfie as well. Very, very, very good. Very good. Right, let's get into some player performances. Let's talk John McGinn first. A couple of comments here. Paul Mercer Village said John McGinn has been an absolute revelation under Emery, considering he's dropped under Danks because of his poor form under Gerrard. CC says McGinn really showed why he's captain today. That's why you need someone ideally in the middle of the park, in my opinion. And Dunk says McGinn is a number 10 in reality, and playing in that further forward role, Kev, he was just phenomenal, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, fantastic, mate. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I mean, what else can you say about him? What else can you say?
I mean, it's just his engine and his attitude, his drive. Like, it's not as if he's like really massively vocal on the pitch. Like, you know, Mings is that player, but in terms of that example and that kind of will to win, and just that, it was just typified by, you know, he plays in numerous different positions. He was put out onto that right hand side when Buendia came on, and he just beats Matoma like in the 85th minute or something, just like he's not even there, and like he's just incredible.
If he can have a full season like this, I think he could be one of the 6 nominees for Player of the Season. I think he could. I mean the Premier League as well. I think he's that influential. I mean, Gary's absolutely right. Just while we're on the topic, you know, but he just can't score, can he?
Yeah,
he just can't score, can he? And I mean, look, if he's playing a midfield role and he's playing a bit further forward, he does need to get a few more goals. But I don't think he's someone you can even consider upgrading, because I think if you bring in a player who's got, I don't know, more attacking flair, I don't know, say it was a João Felix or someone, you know, or even an Aston Villa, whatever. I'm not saying direct replacement, you get my point. Someone else who's seen to be more attacking. What do you lose by not having him in the team? And no one in the Premier League likes playing against John McGinn. You know that for a fact. Today was just, he was just all action. He was just all action. He was everywhere. I mean, you could see the fury on his face when he was, one point, maybe mid 80 minutes, he was chasing back like his life depended, like he had like a monster chasing him as fast as he could just to get back. And the heart and the fight he shows, you're absolutely right, it epitomizes what a captain should be in terms of performance and attitude. He's not the loudest person in the room, but also to be a good team, you need a team of captains. You need whether it's an Ashley Young on or off the pitch, you know, it's a Tyrone Mings, it's a Martinez. You've got these players now that you've got some senior players in the team, even the likes of Louise. You know, they've obviously been around the game for a bit of time now. They've got a bit of confidence, and that can only help. But yeah, McGinn, he's just absolute he's our Captain Marvel, isn't
he? Yeah, just brilliant. Just add a couple more goals to his game, but the passing is better. The drive, he's lost a few pounds. Like, he's just getting about the pitch. Like, I've never seen anyone do as much running as him. Just nobody wants to play against him. Like, whether it's 6'6" Dan Burn, or, you know, Mitoma, who's so quick, or Enciso, or it's you know, the Liverpool midfield of last week, you know, Fabinho, who's always, you know, gets the better of us. Nobody wants to play against him. Like, if you asked like Premier League midfielders who they don't like to play against, I guarantee you most of them would say John McGinn.
Yeah,
because he's just everywhere.
And when you consider as well, like, all the issues over the years we've had with our midfield, right? You know, I'm not going to maybe name any names, but we've had some players over the years in midfield that haven't been too great, right? How good is our midfield generally? Yeah, we want a few more goals, absolutely, and I think, you know, that's something we need to improve. But if you look at that midfield of McGinn, Kamara, Louise, Ramsey, it's absolutely cracking. I think it's a match for almost any midfield in the Premier League.
It's got a bit of everything, hasn't it? Now it's got a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Few comments. Lee says, I saw Kamara's edges today. Times when we lost the ball, his awareness and timing of attack was superb. Reem again, I'm still really angry about what Gerrard did with him. And Rub says Gerrard did it to 80% of our players, to be honest. George said our midfield was strong today. To think we used to get bullied week in, week out. Ramsey smashed it today. I thought they were all good. And Adamski, if I could only keep one player from our starting lineup, it would be Tyrone Mings. Can't imagine our defense without him. Yeah, we'll come on to Mings. McGinn 10 lines in one. Espen's in the house. Great to have you on board, mate. Congrats to all Villa fans. What a fantastic day. And yeah, your tweets, mate, are amazing. Like, you really get everyone going on Twitter. Fantastic job, mate.
Love it, mate.
Fantastic job. I agree. McGinn has absolutely grown into the captaincy. We have leaders on the pitch like Martinez, Mings, and Young. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, just talking of that midfield as well. Obviously, yeah, shout out to Kamara and Louise. I mean, Louise, as we've touched on before, gets a goal, but yeah, his overall game at the moment, his passing, his drive, his strength in the tackle. He's got that little nastiness about him where he's putting fouls in, and not getting booked for them as well. When we've talked about that kind of housery. And Louise getting it now.
Yeah, he's. You said it before, mate. Like, got a bit of everything. We've got pace. We've got the dynamic running of obviously Ramsey, but also I think of McGinn. You've got the calmness and composure of a Louise and a Kamara. You've got the tactical now. So I think of all of them. I think Ramsey needs to work on that. But the other three are using their body well and getting fouls. I didn't think the ref was great today. I think there was a few fouls.
Nah, he was very poor.
Yeah, we should have had a few more.
Of it.
Few more fouls. There was times actually when they were being tactical. It was clearly a foul in this modern game, and not even contentious. And I was like, my God, I can't believe he's not giving it. So, yeah, the Kamara point made earlier, as well about whether he can contribute for will be available at least for 30 odd games, and with a European tour, with Unai at the wheel, we're clearly going to go to the final of that competition because he doesn't do anything else. So. Let's say you have a season and maybe you like to think you might go a bit further in the other cups. Who knows? But let's say you end up having 50 odd games. If he's only available for 20 of them, it's going to be a problem. I think he needs to get a bit physically stronger. I think he just does. I think he needs to get himself on the weights this summer because I think that will help his game. But some players are just a bit more injury prone. Some are unlucky. You look at Danny Ings had a spell in his career where he was out for like 2 years and then actually has been pretty available since that. It can happen to anybody. Diego Carlos gets himself to 29, has no real injuries from when he plays, all of a sudden has a terrible injury. Jed Stacey, there's different players have different things. Some players get injured, they're never the same. Some come back from, cruciate ligament and compound fractures and come back in the same player. So who knows? But this season has been a bit stop-start, and I hope he isn't one of those players that does seem to be a little bit injury prone, easily picking up muscle injuries and the like.
Yeah. Talking of defence, where you talked about Carlos, being out of our defence, obviously then that meant more pressure on Mings and Konsa to play. But particularly for me, Ezri Konsa today, I thought he was fantastic. And one vital header right at the end of the game was just brilliant. So yeah, that defence and Luca Dean coming in as well, with. Here's Sam in back in his house with his Villa shirt on, looking good, mate. But yeah, Ezri Konsa and Luca Dean deserve some credit as well for a good performance today.
Yeah, they do. Can I just say, I love that Sam's just literally bolted in the door and gone, all right, love, all right, baby, see you later.
Yeah,
baby's asleep. Luckily, otherwise I wouldn't get away with
it. I'll let you off. The defense were brilliant, mate. The defense. I mean, the thing is, I'm almost at a point now. Sometimes don't even notice the defense if we have a game where we're not under too much pressure because I just know things are getting headed out. So I couldn't really tell you whether Konsa did make a great header at the end. I do know that Digne was really good. I thought was really good, and he's looking a bit more of an attacking threat. He's keeping the ball pretty well. His deliveries are good. He's getting back towards that player that I think we thought he was, and maybe when we were giving him a bit of grief, and obviously Moreno came, and maybe he was another victim of the previous regimes. Performances not being where they need to be because we talked about it with the obvious ones like a Watkin and a Louise and a McGinn and a Mings, but why is it any difference for a Digne or for a Cash? For someone like that.
Yeah, well, Digne could have scored from a free kick. Just went past the post. Watching on like you've seen it on the TV. Probably you guys maybe. I don't think you might have had a good view of it, Kev, but I think you're in the.
Got it on video, mate. Got it on video.
Yeah, you take the videos of the set pieces, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Digne was solid. I don't think he had quite the afternoon that Cash had, and Cash, did well considering he had Enciso and Mitoma to contend with. But I thought Buonanotte. I think Digne had him in his pocket. I'm actually surprised that. Well, actually, no, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't worth them changing wings because they were getting fair bit out of Cash, but yeah, it was good to see Digne having a good game, Sam.
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant. That from where I was sat, because I'm just by the hole, the Doug Ellis side. So I thought he went in. We all did.
Yeah.
You know that where the commentators say, "Well, half the stadium thought that was in." That's
Yeah.
almost exactly what happened. I mean, just going back to Cash, I thought he struggled today, and I like Matty Cash, but I think where as someone said in the comments earlier about being critical, he's not the guy. He's not the guy, unfortunately. I think where I'm sat, generally I can see Ashley Young a lot because I'm right next to that right back position when we're not shooting at the hole and we're going the other way. And Ashley Young just seems more assured. He's a better passer of the ball. We play it around the back a lot as we did today. And Matty Cash looks really nervous. He doesn't really know how to sort of create himself some space to make a pass. I think he struggled a bit. I don't know if you've already spoken about Matty Cash, but I think he kind of demonstrated why he needs competition at least. If it's not moving him on and bringing someone else in, I think he needs someone who's really going to challenge him. It'd be interesting to see if Ashley Young stays as well, because Unai Emery said that they're going to wait straight after the last game of the season, and he was talking about Ashley Young's experience in Europe and stuff like that. And I don't know if getting Europe will actually mean that Ashley Young stays because he has that experience.
Well, he said he wants to, because he was directly asked the question. I don't know if it was off a support or off a reporter, but he said he wants to stay, and it's up to the manager.
It was on the pitch actually at the when they were doing their lap of honour. So he said, they said, "Do you want to stay?" And he goes, "Well, you need to ask the manager." I really liked Ashley Young this season. I thought when you talk about player of the season, I don't think he was player of the season, but he's definitely the surprise of the season for me, because I did not expect him to keep up those levels.
How many games is it? He's got to be nearly over 30 games he's appeared in, hasn't it, this season?
Was it the one where we beat Leicester and he had Harvey Barnes all night, and then at the end of it he just kind of slumped to the floor and he was
I
don't know if I can do that again. But he's
in a week he had I can't remember who we played in that week, but he had some ridiculous wingers to play against.
Forest, we played Leicester, we played someone else before Leicester as well. Chelsea, I think it was Chelsea. Chelsea and Leicester.
So he had whoever, Mudryk or whoever he had against Chelsea. Then bloody Harvey Barnes, and then Brennan Johnson.
But Luca Dini's was brilliant today. And I don't know about you boys, but I love the idea of having Moreno and Luca Dini at Villa. I know George was saying he's on really high wages, but for me that's two top tier left backs, and I feel like the best teams in the league have got two really good options in each position. And I feel like Villa right now, we've kind of seen with injuries throughout the season, we don't have top tier replacements for each. I know it's hard to keep them happy, but with the amount of games that we'll have with Europe and the Cups and the Premier League, we should have enough games to keep everyone happy and keep them in rotation.
I think it'd be interesting to see what happens with this, and actually how ruthless Emery will be to get what he wants. Because there's a lot of players that have been really good. It's almost kind of like the Conor Harahan effect, isn't it? Because we all loved Harahan and it was really effective, but we kind of knew when it was maybe time to get a bit of an upgrade. And I said it with a heavy heart because I absolutely loved Harahan at the Villa. It's someone I would love to meet on a night out one night and have a beer and a photo with, because what he did for our club and how he helped us get to where we are. But there was a reality that when time's up, and I think with our fullbacks, that's something we've got to look at. And I also think that works the other way around. With Adina, I think he has shown his class in the last few weeks, and I think it would be great to have Adina and Moreno. But they might think if they can get a decent fee for him at the age he's at from a decent club, and bring another target in, maybe cheaper, maybe a bit more dynamic. Then
did you say bring Matty Target in, Kev?
No, not my target. No, someone more dynamic. I said, so that maybe isn't quite right. But yeah, the whole situation around the fullbacks is something where there has been a bit of a lack of quality. Sam, you've mentioned it like me a few times about Kessler Hayden. Is Kessler Hayden good enough? Be interested to see with a pre-season what happens. But no one would have thought Ashley Young. There's 29 Premier League games I think he's played this season for Aston Villa, which is at 37. It'll be 38 soon, won't it, in July?
Yeah, I think you make a good point, Kevin. The question that we've got over, I'd say, three of the young players, the key young players. You've got Archer, Irigbon, and Kessler Hayden. And I think the issue is we're never going to know if they're good enough unless they play. Like we talk about Cameron Archer, or can he do it in the Premier League? Can we do it in the Premier League? Well, we don't know because he scores everywhere else, and until he plays in the Premier League, it's always a hypothetical. So and I think it's tough as well because if you bring in a new striker and you keep Ollie Watkins, then where does Cameron Archer fit in? And I think it's one of those. It's been a really long time since I've just trusted a manager wholeheartedly, and I just have that with Emery. If Emery says he's not good enough, he's not good enough. If he says he is, he is.
Yeah.
I just defer, and it's quite nice not having that pressure to try and work it out and think what you would do, because it's like delegating. It's like we've got someone else in a team, and we could just kind of leave it to them. So I'd like to see Kessler Hayden and another top right back as our right back options next year, but who knows?
Yeah. Sam, mate, can I just say I agree? If Emery came out in the press and it said, like, Emery says, listen, I'm swapping McGinn, Mings, Watkins, and Louise and Ramsey for Leeds 2 centre halves, I'll be like, all right, no worries, Unai, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's such a rare situation as a Villa fan as well to have absolute, total, utter faith in what the manager's doing. I was thinking this earlier on when my lad was saying to me when they obviously did the lap of honor, he was like, "Where's Unai, Dad? Where's Unai?" And I said, "Unai doesn't want. Why do I phrase it to like a young lad? But I was like, doesn't want to be a show off. He likes to let his players have the moment." But as I sort of said that comment, I thought to myself, he's the star, isn't he? He's our, whether you want to call it like Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, Wayne Rooney, Jack Grealish, for us. He's our star, isn't he? Unai Emery. He's the one.
He's a leader, and I think I love the way he walked around with the owners, Nassef and Wes Edens, and he walked around with them, and he's just. I was talking to my brother about this earlier at the game. He's just so classy. Like, of all the games that he's managed with Villa, I've never seen him come out and say a bad word against anyone or, do anything disrespectful. So yeah.
He's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant. I was going to say, like, let's give a shout out to Unai, but I think you've covered it there. Guys, we've got nearly 100 people watching, which is absolutely phenomenal. I think when I checked, we only had 35 likes though. So please, guys, hit that like button as well. Really help us to grow. We're over 1,500 subscribers now, which is absolutely phenomenal. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to donate to the channel, it's massively appreciated. If you want to become a member, hit the link at the top of the chat, and it's just $1.99 a month. I will go through some comments. Dream Villain said McGinn is this generation's Gareth Barry. CC agreeing with us. The one thing I'd like to see a change in midfield is we need to see the early through balls more and a little more creativity on free kicks and corners.
That's T Elements, by the way.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah,
that's the free kicks and that's the creativity.
Yeah, Gary said, think only Martinez is the only player we have to worry about leaving this year. Adamski says Bailey has bulked up a bit. Gary said could be double claret and blue winners of the Conference League, obviously with West Ham this year as well. Popper says late to the podcast, but wanting to say well done to the team and thanks to the Villa Park podcast for your coverage this season. Up the Villa to Europe. Thank you so much, mate. Much appreciated. Alfie said, Emmy has Europe now, he has a World Cup. I think he appreciates what he has here. Martin has wanted Europe and we have given it to him, says CC. I'd be disappointed if he chooses to go as we've supported his ambition for the World Cup and Copper competitions. Sava says he lost a £10 bet to a Newcastle fantasy who finishes above each other. We gave them a head start, so no hard feelings. Yeah, I know, Matt. I know the feeling. Rachel said there are a few question marks whether people stay or not, but I'm not worried as I trust Emery will replace if necessary. Exactly what we said, boys. Gary says Esri never gets any mention, does he? Big shout out to Jed Steer. Without his penalty heroics, where would we have been? Yeah, he's 10 years at the club. Obviously, he got a nice send-off. Credo said Luca Dean, very solid today. Lee said, did you see Conza just throw one of the, I think he said Brighton players?
Yeah, it was brilliant. But you know what? Can we just go back to Gary's comment? Because I know Gary always gives me shit for either having pants in my room or being in a tunnel or whatever. But he's absolutely spot on there. Ezri Konsa has been absolutely fantastic all season. And I feel
he has. Well, as you were coming on, mate, we bigged up Konsa. We were, so
yeah.
that was our
He's been
point.
Brilliant. So big shout out from me as well. I like him.
Yeah, he was great today, like because he had a tough game against Ferguson. Because I
I
think
think the fact that he's kept Diego Carlos out of the squad shows how much
yeah,
Emery
yeah,
rates him as
yeah,
well.
yeah. Stephen says Conte is one of our most underrated players outside Villa circles. Think getting Europe with the same team will belittle Gerrard's management qualities even more. Yeah. Dina second, excellent game from him. Duncan agrees with you, Sam, that Cash will be upgraded. Whoever comes in will have to fight for their places, says Adamski. Nigel says Cash was given his opponent little too much space today, almost fearful. Yeah, he was backing off quite a lot. But he has improved. Oh no, doesn't think he's improved, says Gary. Yeah,
No, I don't
probably
think he
not.
has.
No, probably not. Savas says, would you take Kyle Walker on a free?
He wants to go back to Sheffield United.
I'd take Kyle Walker on 20 million.
Yeah.
I think he wants to go to Sheffield United.
You think
Yeah.
so? I mean,
he said it. He did an interview with Sky Sports, and he said he'd love to go back to Sheffield United.
Surely he's
Would
got
they take
2 or
his
3
wages?
years. 2 or 3 years left at least. Maybe when he's like 34, 35, maybe.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
Still rapid.
Yeah.
I don't think Cash has got better since Emery's joined.
No, it's a difficult one.
And the thing is as well, I think with the number of players that have improved since Emery's come in, if you haven't improved, I feel like it's on you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If that many players has improved since he's come in, if you haven't, I think you've got to question why.
Yeah. Denzel Dumfries, Duncan saying. Gary says rather have Denzel Washington. Target is a Champions League fullback now. I don't know if they'll keep him though, to be honest.
We'll see.
Yeah. Lee says I could see Archer in a system where Bailey is left out. I don't know. I don't know if you'd go through the middle and whether you'd play Watkins out wide. I really don't know. CC says he thought Cash had a good game. He had his hands full with 2 very skillful players, and he pretty much kept them quiet. But he felt a bit nervy at times. He only just kept up, but he never gave up once. His effort and his kind of attitude is brilliant. That's not for question. It's just whether we kind of go out and try and upgrade. It's that really.
I think attacking wise and defensively, lacks a bit. Yeah.
Sarko doesn't think Kane Kessler's anywhere near the first team at the minute to challenge. Right, so just before we finish up, as I say, just amazing support on the channel. I did want to just cover briefly the teams because actually let's get this picture back up again. Look, qualified Europa Conference League playoff round. We're in Europe, boys, and these are the potential teams that we could face.
Rich, can you just go back to that previous picture? Sorry. Yeah. Are they like banknotes floating around? Is that the same we made it like big? Are they like? What are those?
No, I don't think they're dollars. No, I think it's confetti.
Oh, it's confetti. I thought it was like saying basically you're making some serious paper.
Cashish. Yeah, cashish. I don't think you quite get the big bucks in the Conference League, unfortunately.
No, sorry.
No. But yeah, I did want to just bring this picture up again. So we'd likely be in pot 2 now. I don't know if that's for the playoff though. I'm not sure how it works, but these are the examples of the team. So we've got like the sort of 4th seeds would be Shamrock Rovers, New TNS, New Saints, Lincoln Red Imps, Aberdeen in there as well.
There are a lot of shitters in there, aren't they?
Yeah, and you've got Lech Poznan, Sparta Prague, Maccabi Haifa, Helsinki, AEK Athens, and then you're going up to like Lille, Victoria Pilsen, Bodo Glimt, Partizan Belgrade. You got Juventus potentially in there. You got Eintracht Frankfurt, Bruges, Basel, AZ Alkmaar, we're in it this year. Dinamo Kiev, Fenerbahce, and Ghent. So yeah, there's some decent teams mixed in with a fair bit of shite. But other than
what are the numbers, Rich, on the side?
I think that's kind of the rating. Like I'm not sure what that means, but
is that the odds? Is that the like betting odds or something? Is it?
No, it's like their seeding, like how they would rate them in terms of their seeding. So like Juventus, obviously the massive favourites if they were to be in it. but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% what it.
I'll take a Villa
I
Juventus
think
final.
I think it's to do with how they rate you and then what pot you would go into. But
Vlahovic's going to score the winner against Juventus in the final.
But I mean, surely we don't really care where we get, boys. Surely we don't really care. Like we're just in Europe.
I think I'd actually like a real gimme first round, because am I right in thinking it's like a playoff to get into then the Conference League?
Yeah. So it's so that's what I said. I don't know which teams are guaranteed to get in the group stages or which teams are straight into the like in the playoff round, or whether everyone goes to playoff. Whether if you're in pot 1, you play against a team in pot 4, and if it's pot 2, you're playing against a team in pot 3. I don't know how it works. If anyone's in the chat knows how the playoff round is organised, then please let us know. But I do know that I think it's August the 24th is the first leg, and then August the 31st is the second leg.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the playoff round.
I think that will encourage Villa to do their business earlier as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm surprised that the Premier League entrant wouldn't be in pot 1, if I'm being honest.
Is it based on like recent European history, maybe, and what if you've not been there?
I think we've won more European Cups than everyone else in that list combined.
I think Juve have got a couple, maybe, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't think Bodo Glimt and Lincoln Red Imps have been. I think they've won as many as Man City and Spurs. I can say that at least for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but look, just to be in Europe again, lads. I mean, I know it's going to be sod's law. We'll end up with Aberdeen in the playoff round or something like that, or TNS. I'll take TNS though, 100%. But like we'll dream of these kind of glamorous places, but we will end up. You know what,
Rich? I'm going to shit all over that. We're going to win it. We're going to win the whole.
Well, this is the next thing. Yeah, this was the second question I was going to ask you, and I'm glad you brought that up, Sam, because West Ham obviously could, in the final, if they win that, they get in the Europa League next season. Is it an easier route to the Europa League to win the Conference League 100%. Than it is to get in the Premier League?
100%, because if you want to finish in the Europa League, you've got to finish above one of these teams: Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Spurs, Brighton, Newcastle, Brentford. Like, there's a lot of quality in the Premier League. So to finish in the top 6 isn't easy. So I would argue winning the Europa League is cup football, which is so unpredictable. You've seen loads of teams drop out of the cup against teams that you wouldn't expect them to. But the thing is about Unai Emery is he is a European Cup competition manager. That is his specialty. His specialty is winning the Europa League, which he's done on 4 occasions, and he's been to 5 finals, and he's got where was it? Villarreal. Was it Villarreal? He was at before.
Villarreal.
He got them to the semi-finals of the Champions League, and he was about an hour away from getting them to a final. This is a man who knows European competition, and he'll know what it takes. What it takes to get. Do you know this is it? Do you know this is his 16th season in a row that he's qualified for Europe? Yeah, because he's a bad man. He's an absolute gangster. That's why.
He is a bad man.
He's quality, man. He's just.
Do you know what?
I said to him. Go on, Kev.
I was going to say, do you know what? He's never won the Conference League. That's another curse he can break. It's not really a curse when I don't think he's ever been in it. But if you know what Unai's like, if it's something he can break, which has never been done before, he's doing it. And I don't even know if the other teams are going to turn up. If you're playing the Unai Emery's team,
you might as well just forfeit the game.
Might as well make it easy for everyone.
Yeah, but I think it so much depends on the recruitment we do this season. It's a real shame actually, because now that we've got Europe, everyone knows that we've got money and that we're ambitious. We're being linked to everyone and their dog, so it's really hard to.
I know we're being used as bait, aren't we?
Yeah, like I saw with Asensio, there's no chance he's coming to Villa. He's going to go PSG or Milan or one of these teams that are in for him, and it's really hard to decipher what the genuine links are. But I think either way, we'll have a massive summer, and we'll bring in some players who people will just kind of hold their heads to, like Coutinho type surprise signing. So it all depends on what happens in the summer.
Yeah. Boys, I do. Let's call it a night in a second because we want to get match of the day on. We are going to do more shows this week. You know, we've got our player of the season, review of the season, and then talking tactics with Gareth, which will be amazing. Bodymore bulletins if we get any transfer news. So we will have more shows coming up, and we're going to have shows across the pre-season. But I just wanted to sort of, obviously, this is the last pod of the, the sort of match reaction of the actual season. Kev, I'll come to you first, mate. I just wanted to sort of get your feelings on the channel over the year and how much you've enjoyed it, and if you have, and seeing it grow and the comments from the people that watch.
Been shit, mate. I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't know why you bother coming on. You know, I have to twist your arm every week to come on.
Oh, mate, I love it. It's brilliant. Do you know what? Like, it's been, you know, I don't want to go sort of too deep, but, you know, I've had a bit of tumultuous 18 months, you know, personal life, you know, few ups and downs, separated. And this channel's actually personally for me, you know, I don't mind saying it's like from a mental health perspective, it's been amazing for me, you know, just to kind of get the opportunity to chat about one of my loves, you know, with like-minded Villa fans, both in terms of you guys are, you know, all great mates on the pod, but also everyone that contributes to the channel, whether you contribute, whether it's, you know, it's obviously financial, which is brilliant, but whether it's obviously all of our fantastic regular commenters. It's just been so wonderful to see it grow. And clearly, you know, we were sort of, you know, doing the hard yard, sort of like, you know, when the channel came on our own channel back in August, did a pod here, pod there, whatever, to get to a point now of having, you know, 1,500 subscribers. And as that's happened, it's the synergy with the club also going on its upward trajectory has been wonderful. I feel like as we've grown, the team have grown. The women's team beat Arsenal yesterday.
I know,
and Rachel Daly is the top scorer
in
the Women's Premier League. She won Player of the Season, and she's equaled the best ever haul of anyone ever. I mean, this is just what a time to be alive. So, yeah, I mean, I'm almost a little bit emotional about it. I just think it's been magic, mate. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been amazing doing the pod with you, mate. And Sam, I know I bring this up every time, but when you asked when we were doing the pod, you know, a few times, you were saying, "Is anyone actually watching, Rich?" And now, you know, we get like over 100 people watching. We got over 1,500 subscribers. Like Dream Villain said, we're a big family, and we feel like we've got family watching. You know, like who come on every show, comment, contribute, members. You know, would you have imagined this at the start of the season, mate?
Honestly, no. I mean, I remember it was me, you, and George on a podcast once, and we had one person listening, and that person was my mate that I'd asked to come on and ask some questions. So we've come a long way, and you know, we laugh and joke, but that's in no short way due to, you know, your perseverance with the channel. And you know, you talk about all the contributors, but you're sort of like the mainstay on there. Kev's been, you know, absolutely incredible on this. He's so polarizing. You know, he's the Marmite, I'm the Marmite. And the great thing about this channel is that we don't always just agree with each other. We've got such different opinions and different, you know, takes on different issues. And I think the best thing, I consumed a lot of Villa content before I came on this podcast. And I used to watch, you know, like the Villa View, and I used to watch, I mean, I still do. I listen to the Claret and Blue podcast and the Villa on Tour stuff. And I love that. And that's all great. They're all great guys that we've done shows with before. But I think the best thing about this podcast is the engagement with, you know, with the fans, with people watching, you know, just banter. And you know, someone called it a family earlier, and it feels like old friends, because you get people coming back. And you know, I have an ongoing thing with Gary. Kevin's got his ongoing thing with Nigel. And you know, everyone's got someone that, you know, they you know, even people giving us sticks. Someone called me a clown in the comments the other day, and I'm here for it. And I think it's such a great outlet for me. After a game like today, I'm sat in the car and I'm just thinking, I have to talk to someone about this. I've got to say something. I was listening to Talk Sport, and they were talking about Everton, and I was like, "Who cares? Villa in Europe, man. What are we talking about? Why are we talking about anything else? Leicester have gone down. Who gives a shit? With Villa in Europe, am I missing something here?" And this is just such a great space to to talk to you all about it. To all the boys on the podcast. I think we've all become really good friends, and all the people who are listening as well. I can only thank you for subscribing. 1,500 subscribers is fucking mental. Like, for real, that's absolutely crazy. And I hope you all enjoy it. I hope we have loads of content over summer, because I get bored. When there's no football on. So I hope we have loads of chat.
Villa are going to keep us busy, mate.
Man.
They are.
I'm here for it. But massive, just to finish from me, massive thank you to all of you guys on the pod for keeping it going. I know I'm very sporadic on when I join and when I don't. And to everyone who listens, everyone who contributes, just a massive thank you. And we love doing this for you.
Yeah, can I just add one final point as well? Rich, mate, you're sensational. The continuity, you've obviously been there right from the start. Been involved for maybe 18 months now. But the consistency, the ideas, where the pod has come on. Obviously, I've been hopefully a decent part of it the last year and a half or so. But getting Gareth involved and the quality of the content, I think that is at the envy, I think, of a few people in terms of the analysis that we do on that. The updates, you're obviously you're the John McGinn, mate, of the podcast.
Why? Because he's always got his arse out.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
He talks out of it. He talks out of it.
Why? Because he was shit for 2 years and now he's excellent.
He's the engine.
By the way, this is the nicest we'll ever be to you, Rich.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel right.
I think as sad as it makes me, I may be more of the Leon Bailey to his John McGinn. But no, Rich, you're absolutely incredible, mate. And I think been so consistent, the continuity. You've obviously been there when it was one or two followers, and and I think that there were times obviously when we transferred to our own channel where it's probably a little bit nervy, but we hung in there. And and I also think that just in terms of hosting the pods, it's just brilliant. We're getting out there. You're doing obviously the stuff on even contributing on the BBC website in terms of articles. So I just think the sky's the limit for us, really. But you've been fantastic, mate. So yeah, from me, certainly, big thanks.
Yeah, mate, it's been a pleasure, and obviously couldn't do it without you boys. There's 6 or 7 of us now, including Mark, who does all the thumbnails for us and does a great job with that. And Gareth, who's been brilliant addition to the pod, and obviously George and Martin and Rich and you boys is fantastic, and anyone else who's been on. But yeah, obviously it isn't possible without you guys, in the chat and supporting us and, asking us to do pods. And I think Gary's asked, do we get recognised? And, the few weeks ago when I was at the Villa Spurs game, there were Michael came up and we said hello. We had a great chat, and a few other big blooms came up and said I had a good chat, and a few other people, one lad shouted out of his car, yes, the Villa Park pod and all that. So, thank you so much for everyone. But yeah, it's been an amazing season. We're going to be back with loads of content over the summer. We'll be back certainly this week with Talking Tactics, as I said before, with a season review, who our players of the season are. But yeah, now, thank you so much. Villa are in Europe. We're all on a European tour. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.